You're listening to Investify, preaching financial independence and assisting investors to achieve a more flexible and free lifestyle through smart financial planning and real estate investing. If leaving the corporate world and jumping into this thriving industry is what you desire, tune in and listen to stories of like-minded individuals who made the leap to financial independence. Equip yourself with the right tips and tricks to start your real estate journey, making active or passive ventures that are highly profitable and rewarding.
What's going on, everybody? You are listening to Investify. My name is Craig Curelop, aka the Fi Guy, and I'm here with my co-host, Miss Ali Garcet, aka Ali the Agent. Ali, what's up, girl?
Girl, how are you? I'm so excited for today's episode, but I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I've been back home in Massachusetts for about a week now, and I guess Massachusetts isn't no longer my home, but I'm with my family in Massachusetts, and we saw a Red Sox Yankees game, and apparently Allie's parents came all the way from New York to come to the same exact game, and the Red Sox kicked the Yankees' butts. And that's always, I think we swept them actually even this series. So it's a good feeling when the Red Sox are beating the Yankees. It's high spirits in Boston when that happens.
Yeah, my sister was there too, and they left with their tail between their legs. They drove all the way home. They even got pulled over on the way home because they were just trying to speed home.
Yeah, yeah. I think they threw away their Yankees hats, got Red Sox hats, and maybe they got pulled over in New York for wearing the
Ah,
wrong. Yeah, too far.
maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. No, but yeah, things have been good. My grandfather's 90th birthday is we celebrated that, and yeah, man, it's been great to be back. But obviously also excited to get back to Idaho and back to the farm. So, how about you, Allie? Anything big with you?
Not too much. I have just been busy at work. Well, I guess I just got back from Chicago Pride. That was fun. I went there for the weekend. It was my first time in Chicago. It was fun. It was like a mini Manhattan. I really liked it. We went kayaking on the river, and now I'm here and back at work.
Was the river like rainbow colors? I know they make it like green on St. Patty's Day, and I think it's brown all the any other time, but
Yeah, it was just green, and I mean, it was a really nice dyed river, but it looked really pretty. I liked it.
nice. Good. Chicago's a fun place. Okay, so in this episode, this is a pretty fun episode, a little bit atypical, but we figured since I'm home and my whole family's here, we're basically you're just gonna hear a little bit about my childhood. You're gonna hear a little bit about the stories my parents have that I probably haven't told anybody, and the good, the bad, the ugly, real estate, money growing up, kind of just my background and all that stuff, and yeah, I think this is really like an unfiltered episode. I didn't tell my parents to say anything. I didn't ask them to do me any favors. So yeah, this is kind of raw, off the cuff from my family. Just heads up, my family has extreme Boston accents. I think they came out in this episode, and they're not super technologically inclined. So it might be a little bit choppy, but other than that, I think it's a fun episode, and I think y'all will enjoy. So let's bring on the Curlop family. This episode of Investify was brought to you by the Fi Team, a team of investor-friendly agents that service all 50 states. If you are looking to house hack, to invest, grow your portfolio, and want a true investor-friendly agent on your side, go to thefiteam.com and click Get Started, and we can't wait to have a good conversation with you.
Welcome to Investify. Today's episode is a very special one where Ali Garcet, am interviewing Craig's parents. We have special guests in the house. They parked the car and they're ready to go. I'm super excited for this one. And of course, Craig is here as well. He's already starting to blush. So my job, I'm getting an A plus already. Hell yeah. So let's start with the introductions. Mom, introduce yourself.
I'm Lou Curelop. I'm Craig's mom.
Um,
Gary Curelop, Craig's dad. Excuse the things once in a while. Yeah. No,
We actually have a big family here. Who else do we have in this room right now?
Yeah.
Nobody at the moment, but the sisters, Sam, his sister, is coming
on the way from Boston.
very shortly. She's stuck in traffic at the moment, so she'll
Yeah.
be here as soon as she can.
Sammy is my younger sister, and she's probably got the worst of the stories because she'll have no mercy. So this will be fun.
I'm excited.
Who do I look more like, Allie? My mom or my dad?
I want to say your mom. It's your mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got good looks. Yeah.
Yeah.
The better half.
I don't know.
Who do you usually get, Craig?
He looks like me.
Little bit of
So a little bit of both. I get that I look more and more like my dad as I get older.
I think so. Because of the mustache. You know?
Yeah.
It's the mustache.
I grew mine though.
It's hard to compete with that, you know?
He takes a couple of months to grow his.
Yeah.
Man, okay, so let's start this from the beginning. Or rather, I want to know, do you, mom and dad, do you also invest in real estate?
No, but we're kind of yes and no. We are in the process of doing it now, thanks to Craig. He's got us into it. In the beginning, no, we only had this one house, but now we're building a house in Florida together. And Craig is helping us through the whole process. And we also are looking into buying another home in Hull, a family hand-me-down kind of a thing. So family house. So we have 2 houses pretty soon.
We're gonna sell this.
We're not as brave as he is.
We're gonna sell this house eventually, right? That's the goal.
Yeah. Eventually, we're gonna sell the house that we raised the kids in, and then because it's very big now, the house is too big for us. It's time to downscale a bit.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that I was a big investor like Craig, but I'm not.
No, I love this. I love that this is a different type of like dynamic where you can learn from your kids. And a lot of parents will always, be learning from your kids. And so I love that this is the story. At what point did you know that Craig was entrepreneurial?
Probably, I would have to say high school. That's my favorite question. I'm glad you asked me that. One of my favorite stories to share is when Craig was in high school, I would make him a lunch every single day. And it was like I don't know, about 11th grade or so. He started saying, Mom, 1 sandwich isn't enough anymore. I kind of need 2 sandwiches. I'm like, oh, all right. So I'll make you 2 sandwiches. He goes, but just make the second one with no mayo, no mustard, just plain. Just plain. I go, I thought that was kind of strange. Like, all right, whatever. So I just made the sandwiches and packed them up and never thought anything of it. And this went on and on and on for months. And then one day I was cleaning his room. I was vacuuming under his bed, and I found a box. And I'm like, oh, what's this box? And I take the box out and I look, and there's like dollar bills in there, a lot of dollar bills in there, like chock full. I was like, holy moly, what is this all about? So I'm like, hi, Nathan. I call him into his room right away. He's like, what? I'm like, can you explain this to me, please? He's like, oh, yeah, I've been selling sandwiches on the side. He's selling the second sandwich at school for $5 a pop. And he's saving up his money.
$5?
Yeah, right? He would also buy...
Those were expensive sandwiches.
Well,
yeah,
the buffalo chicken was $5. Everything else was $2 or $3. So,
making me laugh.
So funny. And then after that, he was like, I noticed he was buying pencils, like the package of pencils, and he would be selling the pencils for like $1 a pencil at school when they need a pencil. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, we live in the
gum.
days.
He would sell gum.
And he'd get yelled at for chewing gum.
So yeah, it started probably in high school, I'd say. But he's always been very frugal. He's always been a frugal kind of a guy, Frugal. He always liked to save his money. He was a saver.
He was careful too.
Yeah.
You'd never think he'd be jumping out of planes and hiking mountains the way he does.
He was always very cautious. He never did anything too crazy. He had to analyze everything, make sure it was safe, that there wasn't going to be any bad consequences, And now look at him.
Going into black holes.
He's going scuba diving and
Yeah, but
Hiking.
Oh my gosh. Craig, what were your emotions when your mom yelled at you? Because I'm sure she was like, Craig. No, that was a bad impression. But what were your emotions, if you remember, when she caught you with all those dollar bills?
I honestly I don't even remember. I feel like I remember my dad coming. I had a book too filled with dollar bills.
oh yeah,
And I remember my dad saying, "Hey, you like this book?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And he's like, "Well," and then he opened it to a page, and I think I'd saved like like a bunch of small bills until I got to $100, and I go deposit it in the bank. Um, and I remember that and being like, "Oh shoot." But I never was scared that I would get caught because I wasn't like selling drugs. I wasn't
Yeah.
like doing anything
yeah, there
wrong.
was
Yeah.
nothing bad.
So,
It
yeah.
was funny.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
Yeah.
And of course, we were caterers, so he, he was kind of like, at the time we were doing catering, so he was kind of like going off of what we do, selling sandwiches.
Yeah. And she didn't mind
My
making it.
parents do it, why can't I?
Yeah. There you go.
Wow. So then after you found out that he was selling sandwiches that you were making with love from the bottom of your heart for Craig, did you let him continue doing that or did you tell him to stop?
No, I did. I let him continue.
Yeah, it was the ending.
I didn't think it was a big
It
deal,
was ending.
so it continued for the rest of the year. And then eventually, he got like a job and
Started buying
he started
lunch.
not doing it anymore. But this was before. I think it was before you were
Probably his
able to
junior
work.
year, sophomore year.
Right?
I
Were
think
you
I did it
working?
the whole time.
Yeah, were
like,
you?
all through high school.
I don't know. But no, I still made the sandwiches. I just thought it was funny. Is that bad that I kept making the sandwich?
No, I would have doubled it.
How
We could have got a kickback.
about a third one?
Yeah, some commissions. Yeah, something.
I said we should have leased him his bedroom like he does to others.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have house hacked his bedroom.
You could have Airbnb'd it.
Yeah, you should have. What like growing up, what was your conversation like regarding money? Both with Craig and Sam.
To be honest, we didn't talk about money too much.
Yeah.
It was
Well, they was
not
spoiled.
a topic of conversation. They got everything they wanted. I could tell you that.
Craig
Whatever they
saved
wanted,
his.
they got. But we didn't really discuss finances
Yeah.
or anything like that with the kids.
But
And
Generally, Craig saved his money and Samantha spent hers.
generally,
Generally.
still.
Still.
I'll just add a little bit from my memory. I remember talking. I don't remember who I was talking to, honestly. But I remember asking my parents how much money they made, and they would never tell me. They would just say, "Oh, it's none of your business,"
You didn't know.
or they just didn't know because they owned a business. Whereas like my friends' parents, my friends had answers. They'd be like, "Yeah, my dad makes $35 an hour," and I'll be like, "Dad, how much do you make? I want to know so I can tell my friends." Whatever, that was like what you did as a kid. And there was just never like a solid answer because they were business owners, whereas everyone else
Yeah.
had a regular.
It's hard to
regular
put a
job.
number on how
One
much
week-
you make.
one
Yeah.
week you
There's
lost
so
money
many
and 1 week
variables.
You got money.
Yeah. So there was never like a starting point, which is like what all kids understand, like how much you make, and so then we never really got into like how much you spent or anything like that. I mean, yeah, I definitely like. I don't think like we got what we wanted, but I don't think it was always like the best things. Like, for example, like golf clubs are the first thing that comes to mind. Like I got a starter set of golf clubs. It was $300. That's what you got for a starter set. Whereas there's some kids at school that had like the nicer set of golf clubs and like were like, and I remember mom being like, what do you need a 300 set of golf clubs for? You're 12,
Yeah.
right? And so there's like that instilled in me too, where it's like, yeah, I'm not going to be much better with a $1,200 set than a $300 set. So you might as well just trash the $300 set and then in 10, 15 years when you're good.
And plus, at that age, you don't know how long you're gonna be playing golf. So
Yeah.
they go in and out of these phases when they're kids. One summer they want to play this, next summer they want to play that. I mean, you have to really pick and choose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And I see so many parallels like with your family and my family, where I am also the older sibling and my younger sibling doesn't really like care too much about investing or I don't want to, like it just she's content. And I was like always saving every dollar and she was like, "Hey, if I find a nice dress that I like, when I go shopping at the mall and I'm in middle school, I'm going to buy it." And I was like, so I wonder if it's like an older sibling versus younger. What do you think, mom and dad?
I think so. I think it's
Maybe.
maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I know. So I don't know. I know some people who like I think in general, the younger sibling is a little bit more rebellious, and the older one is a little like just like psychologically speaking, or like yeah, like if you go to like a psychologist and they'll tell you that. But I'm sure that there's certainly exceptions in either direction.
The oldest one doesn't have anything to compare with because you're the only one. And then the next one is like, oh, well, he gets this, I want this. Or, you know, you get a little jealousy, fight, you know, animosity. And by the third one, you know, he's punching. He's the littlest is usually
He's
the
the middle
toughest.
child, so Gary, my husband.
Yeah, I'm the middle child. We don't have one, but well, not yet, so.
Toy. Pay no attention to him.
What would you say, I guess, was as you noticed both of your kids growing up and you started seeing one being like more of a saver and the other one being maybe more of a spender. At what age did you start noticing the difference and what was like what were just some stories behind that?
Oh, Samantha was spending in the first grade. Her friends would come to school all dolled up, and she wanted to be dolled up. Like her best friend, even to this day, loved the fashion, you know. And Samantha was always into clothes. Craig dressed like me until he got married.
Yeah, so Grace set him straight. But yeah, Craig wasn't into fashion. He wasn't into clothing. He wasn't into any of that stuff. He wasn't really into things so much. Right. He really wasn't. He didn't need...
Into sports.
I mean, Christmas would come and he'd give me his list and all that, but during the year, he wouldn't be like, I want this, I want that. He never really... He was actually very easy kid to raise. He was very good. And he was pretty stress-free overall. I'm very blessed to have him for a son.
Yeah, except when
it was a walk in the park.
What was your most stressful moment with Craig?
Oh my gosh, that's easy. When he would do his crazy little go off on his bike because my rule was you don't leave the neighborhood on this bike. You have to be in the neighborhood, and he would always take off on his bike, and sometimes he would take off in thunder and lightning and ice storms and all kinds of crazy weather. He didn't care. He would just get on his bike and go. So I think that's probably the biggest stress for me.
They have to lock his bike up.
Yeah, then we would punish him and lock his bike up so he couldn't ride his bike anymore for a while. And then he would make our life miserable. We'd be like, all right, take your bike. And we'd break
Get out of here.
Tell him when we were going to punish Craig when he was 7 about the sweater.
You tell him.
Oh, Craig did something, and we asked him, what would you rather do, go to your room or wear this turtleneck sweater? That was his punishment. So he went to his room all day. He wouldn't wear the sweater. I guess
Craig really had a sensitivity to clothing. Like, he was very fussy about what he put on his skin. And if it didn't feel just so, it was like needles to him. And sweaters were one of those things. Sweaters and turtlenecks were the most horrific thing you could put on him. And so somebody gave him a turtleneck sweater, and I had to laugh because it was like, obviously they don't know Craig, and it was a Christmas gift. And so he was misbehaving, and I'm like, all right, you get to choose, man. You want to wear that sweater or you want to go to your room? And he's like, I'll go to my room.
He did try it on though, remember?
Yeah, he tried it on for a minute.
To see if he could deal with it.
Well, yeah.
All right. That's going backwards.
But his sister said, Sam, come join. She just arrived. But yeah, it was pretty. He had a.
Is she dolled up?
She's always dolled up. She always looks beautiful. Oh, look, she's not so dolled up today. She's being cash.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, pull up a
squish
stool. There you
go.
This is Sam. Say hi, Sam.
Hi.
This is Allie.
Hey Sam, I'm Allie. We were just talking about you.
Nice to meet you or see you.
Nice meeting you too. We were talking about the differences between you and Craig growing up, like saving and spending and what they were worried about with raising both of you. So what was your most stressful moment raising Sam?
Oh. A lot. Girls are a little bit harder. Sam was a little bit more rebellious. She was more, feisty.
I was the black sheep.
She was more like, I ain't gonna,
Show a picture
you know,
of Heineken
take
can?
that. But he was very like, okay, Mom, whatever you want, you know. So it was a little bit that way. But Sam was also a very good kid.
Nobody
turned out
got
to be-
arrested.
She turned out to be good. But, you know, you're going to have that stresses with all kids.
Yeah, I can imagine. It seems like you lucked out, but also it seems like your parenting style was great, and is great. So I'm proud of you guys. This family's so cute. I want to take a screenshot.
Well, Greg will tell you that I was too strict. You were too strict
Well,
with him.
Yeah, and not strict enough with Sammy. She let her off easy.
That's true.
I couldn't go to the movies by myself until I could drive a car, and Sammy was going to the movies by herself when she was like 10
By herself? No, she was going
with her
people.
friends, but still, without adult
No.
supervision.
That's not true.
13.
Yeah, exaggerated.
He's
a bit.
exaggerating. But it's true though, I did lighten up with my second one. Because I was exhausted. I was like, oh.
And that's just two. Some people have like 6 kids.
yeah, you got
You get tired of fighting the fight, you know? You're like, whatever. She turned out fine. Right?
I think so.
What were both of your first jobs?
You mean us parents? What was my first job? Probably waitressing.
Everyone.
Yeah, I waitressed for a good portion of my youth.
That was
All the way until I graduated college. I waitressed my way through that. And then when I met him, I asked him if he would go into business with me. And he said, yeah. And so I'm like, well, you need to learn how to cook. So he went, okay. So he became a chef and learned how to cook. And we owned the catering company. And we did that for 33 years until COVID hit.
Wow. What type of food?
We did everything, international cuisine, American, but we did Italian and Middle Eastern and Asian, all the different ones. Whatever they wanted, we
I need to
made.
come over.
Come on over. Although today we're not having anything too fancy. Burgers on the grill after. Nothing too much, but
I'm still coming over.
you're more than welcome.
So what did you guys think when Craig was purchasing his first house hack? What were your reactions to that?
I was excited and I was nervous, both. It's a scary thing, but I knew that I had confidence in him, and I knew that he wouldn't do anything without really doing his homework. I believed in him.
Yeah.
So
Well, we knew he was going to Denver because of bigger pockets.
yeah.
And he was talked about it for at least 6 months. And it didn't really hit that he's buying this house to do these things, It didn't it would just kind of evolve. He knew what his plan was, but it wasn't, and he talked about it a lot. Like the house hack. But as he bought the house and then whatever happened with upstairs, downstairs, and, things happened. And then at the beginning, he, cut himself off in the living room and he Airbnb'd out the 1 bedroom, right? It was 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
So and I used to joke about it and say, why don't you Airbnb that out and you get a tent, or whatever. But he did the car Airbnb thing, whatever that Toro, whatever it is. So anything he could do, he expanded. Whatever it was, he added something to it to make it better. Like house hacking was apartments. He really pushed it into rooms. So, like you buy a big old 5, bedroom house, and you Airbnb out each room, and he would always be living in a different house.
Yeah, he
Pretty
was-
much. Well, he tried to live in a van once.
Yeah, that one made me nervous. I thought he lost his mind at that point when he said he was going to live out of a van. I'm like, are you crazy?
We said this will end when he meets somebody.
Yeah.
No more we
Thank
all
God.
sleeping tonight.
Thank God Grace came along.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah. I think everyone in my life would say that. But yeah, from my perspective there too, my parents were always very, very supportive, which I count my blessings every day for that. They really just kind of were like, yeah, okay, do your thing,
I don't
and
even
kind of
know
just
if we got it at first. Or
Yeah.
Didn't make us
maybe they didn't
worry
understand
that
it.
you were doing that.
Yeah. One thing I remember, my dad saying we were kind of we were at our beach house and sitting out front, and I was like, maybe just got my first house hack. And I was really excited about it, and I was saying I was making $1,000 a month, and I'm going to do this every year for 5 years. Then I won't have to work ever again. And then I remember like, Dad, I remember you saying, well, I like my job. Like, why, like, I don't have any problem doing that. And I'm just like, yeah, but like, wouldn't you rather be with us on the beach than working? And I don't know, I feel like a light bulb went off in your head there when I said that. I don't know if you remember that conversation.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Right, no, I know his intent, but you still work even if I like my physicalness working, I guess, but I couldn't do what you do, but no, that's great. But when he wants to do something different, he's so impatient, I want to do another business. He's looking for something to do. I just say, buy another house. Mm-hmm. Keep it going. Keep the empire, do what you do and buy another one. Instead of veering off into something because you're bored, kind of, I mean, it can get boring after so many, right? But no, yeah. I do remember that.
That's awesome. And then Sam, what were your thoughts during this?
I was just looking at him as like an influence, I guess, and just trying to figure out ways to make money as well, but not doing that. Maybe in the future I want to become a realtor, but right now I love my job too. But no, I just like to watch Craig grow. And yeah, I watched him go from like doing the with ALS thing to
different things.
Yeah, a lot of different things, and then doing bigger pockets, and then he got into real estate and got his first house, and then was like kept doing that, and I was proud of him. And then it was cool to watch him become an influencer. And then I always tell all my guests or the clients I see like about him and to follow him, and he's like
she gets you a lot of
real
followers,
estate influencer.
Uh-huh.
Well, so Sammy just massaged Conor McGregor. Did you tell him? And so if you don't know, Conor McGregor is like a really famous UFC fighter, like the most famous one. And yeah,
I didn't know it was him.
Did you get him to follow me?
No.
Damn it.
Hopefully.
He might.
Did he?
She massaged Brad Marchand. He's well known. I don't know if they know Brad Marchand out there.
That's cool. And from my understanding, a little bird on the street told me that Craig, that you're actually home for your grandpa's 90th birthday. Is that true?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he also around? What I would love to hear words of wisdom from him as well, and any stories that he has to roast Craig.
Oh, he's got plenty to roast, but unfortunately he's not here today. They used to spend a lot of time together. When Craig was little, he would take him out and do things. I'm sure he has lots of funny Craig stories to share. But unfortunately he's not here today.
He's back home at his house.
Yeah. It's just us.
Okay. I want to go around the room here, and I want each of you to share your a story that would most embarrass Craig. I think the audience will love this.
The overnight story, the get up story.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
All right, I'd say junior in high school, right? Maybe 2009. I know the dates because with the catering, we stopped it for a while and then we started it. And in the interim, I was working out of the house. I had another job, but it's about 6:30 p.m. and it's kind of getting dark. I'm pounding some, I had chicken laid out all over the place, which isn't unusual. Mm-hmm. Craig comes downstairs. I guess he was taking a nap, so he just got up. He sits down, eats a bowl of cereal. He tells me he's going to take a couple tests at the high school, and they start at 7 o'clock. And I had no idea that exactly what he was doing, but okay, see you later. So he eats, goes outside, says hello to about 6 kids playing basketball, 6:30 p.m., and he's not realizing that he thinks it's 6:30 a.m. So he gets in the car, he's halfway to the place, and I think he realized it's getting darker, not lighter. So he was off by 12 hours. So That's about the most like funniest thing to us about what he did, because he got by me and I didn't want to question him, because okay, he's going to take a test at 7 p.m. And I think I told my Lou, and she's like, "What's he talking about? That test is in the morning. It's tomorrow morning." I'm like, "I don't think he knew. I think he thinks it's the morning."
What the funny part is that there was boys playing in his friends were playing in the driveway hoops, and he said, "Huh, that's kind of weird that they're playing hoops at 6 a.m. in my driveway, but I gotta go." And he didn't even stop to talk to him or anything. He just like blew by them because he thought he was late for his test. And then what was it? The Dunkin' Donuts or something. I got Dunkin' Donuts. You
We
realize?
got halfway there.
It's funny.
Almost all the way.
That was one of my favorite ones. I can't think of any.
It's
other.
easy to
What
do
else
out
is
here
there?
in Leicester,
What
though,
stories are
because
there?
When he ran through
You
the
couldn't
woods
tell,
and
really.
confessed his love for Kayla
Oh, yeah, you could tell that.
in the
one.
middle of the night.
Oh, yeah, that's a
What?
good one.
When you like ran through the woods in the middle of the night to
Oh
walk to
my
Kayla's
gosh.
house to confess your
that's-
love for her.
That's so
Yeah,
embarrassing.
you have to tell
You can tell it if you want.
Not to tell mom.
I know this story.
Did he? I think
Go
at
ahead,
first.
tell it.
I think it was so long ago, but
I don't-
he was
I don't
in
know.
high school. I think at first he was like, he told me not to tell mom, but he was going for a hike through the woods in the middle of the night. It was like 10 or 11 p.m. and
12, I think.
12 maybe, and he was running through the woods with the coyotes and the animals, trying to get to his girlfriend's house at the time to confess his love to her, and he had to do it at that very moment.
Well, our house to her house, you could technically
woods.
take some back roads, like maybe a couple miles. And he said I could see all the little eyeballs in the
Staring
woods,
at
you
him.
know.
Good thing I didn't know about this. Good thing.
That happened.
I just learned about this story.
I was worried.
Just the other day. It was the first time I heard about that.
Craig was quite the romantic. Don't
Yeah,
let
he
him
was.
fool you.
Craig was very, very romantic. He did the whole rose petal thing, and yeah.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Rose doors, yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
He's,
What else?
Learn
do you
it, learn
got?
it from my dad and my grandpa. Yeah.
but I can't think of any others.
No,
You're putting us in
no.
the spot. I can't think of
When
any.
he threw the rocks out of Samantha's rocks away.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's embarrassing. But
that's just me.
it's just a
An
Craig-
evil big brother.
Craig being a big brother.
Oh. Then we got mad.
Yeah,
at
I don't
him.
want to ruin his reputation.
You wouldn't
so
drive
I
him.
won't say everything
because of that, you wouldn't drive him unless he got the rocks and he jumped on his bike.
Yeah.
So he pissed you off.
That's
twice.
when he was gonna. I got mad at him, and I said, well, he threw his sister's rock collection in the woods,
He was a bully.
and he was
No,
really like
Just to
he
you.
was just being a
Just to
jerk. And so I said, I am not taking you to work until you go out there and you find every single one of those rocks that you threw out. And he's like, I ain't doing it. I'm going to work. I don't have time for that. I'm like, no, you're not going to work until you get those rocks. And so he goes, I'm going. And so he jumped on his bike, and he's gonna ride his bike to work. Now, mind you, his bike
Like
is
12
his job is like, you got to get on the highway
10 miles.
to get there. And Route 146.
Yeah, that wasn't even.
Which
a
is
high.
pretty, it's a busy road. And I'm freaking out now because I'm like, oh my God, this kid's crazy. He's literally gonna jump on 146 and go to work. So I'm like getting stressed out. He's gone, and all of a sudden it got thunder and lightning. It was pouring rain, and I was like a mess. I was freaking out. I was like a mess. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to call the cops on my own kid. Like I gotta do something. I don't know where the heck he is at
Forget
this
how we
point.
found out.
So I said to my husband, you go left, I'll go right. We'll drive around, we'll look for him, we'll try to hunt him down, And then my husband went to his coach's house, and sure enough, he was there. And,
But he left. He drove to his coach's house, whose wife worked at the country club, so he got a ride from her.
Yeah. But he caused me a lot of stress and
That's how
anxiety.
that ended.
Man, well, it could have always been worse.
That bike, I'm telling you, that bike
The
was
bike was
the
biggest
death
cause
of me.
anguish.
Classic.
He has that bike, and he thinks he can do whatever he wants. Then because he wasn't allowed to leave the neighborhood. Then one time I'm driving along on Main Street, and I look, and I'm like, huh, that looks like Craig. Huh. And I'm looking, he's like, there he is on his bike on Main Street. So I went, I pulled over, I'm like, in the car, right now in front of all
That
his friends.
embarrassed him.
He was so embarrassed. Like he was so mad at me. I'm
You
like,
did that to me before.
I
too.
took the bike, I threw it in the back of the car.
We hope this episode is inspiring you to take action. If you're thinking about becoming a real estate agent or an agent who wants to join an investor-friendly team, just hit me up on Instagram at the Fi Guy, because we are growing our team in Denver, Seattle, San Diego, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, but also adding to our network in all 50 states. And if you didn't already know this, the Fi team provides a super supportive environment with one-on-one coaching, accountability, and ongoing training to help develop kick-ass, rock star, investor-friendly real estate agents. So hit me up on Instagram at the Fi Guy, shoot me a DM, and we'll set up a time to chat. Can't wait to chat with you.
So when you say he wasn't allowed out of the neighborhood, how big is the neighborhood that we're talking? Are we talking like eyesight or like a mile?
A mile and a half radius.
Can't see it
Yeah.
very far from our house, anywhere.
We were fortunate that we live on a lot of dead end cul-de-sacs, so he was allowed to go on any of the dead end cul-de-sacs. Plenty of space to ride your bike, but then you cross the main road, and it's very dangerous. It's windy. It's very scary. Like it is, and I was not having my kids on that bike. So that was pretty much it. To this day, I worry about him on the bike.
How often do you ride your bike now, Craig?
I haven't ridden my bike since I completed the Ironman, so it's been like over a year. But of course, like when I was in Denver, I would ride my bike to work, and even in college, I rode my bike to class oftentimes, and I got hit by a car a couple times. Like nothing serious, obviously. I'm alive and well, and never even went to the hospital. But like,
What?
Yeah.
One time he was talking to us when he got hit by. He was on the Bluetooth with us, and all of a sudden he's like, "I hear crash," and a bunch of swears coming out. I'm like, "Oh my god, what just happened?" He's like, "I just got hit." Yeah.
Yeah, there were 2 times. One in Boston was bad, not bad, but could have been bad, and then one in Denver was actually kind of bad. But I left fine, just a little shaken up.
Now you see why I worry.
Like one time I was on the phone with you and you started sinking through quicksand.
Oh yeah.
And I thought Craig was gonna die on the phone with me. I was so scared.
Where
What
were
do
you?
I do? In California.
No, I was in Denver. It was like my first week in Denver. I didn't know how to get home, and I was walking home from Bigger Pockets actually, and there was like the construction site, and there were just tons and tons of sand, and I didn't feel like going around. It was raining, so the sand was wet. And the sand just kept going and going. It was like sinking. I was like hip high in sand. I was like, dang, I got to get out of here. And so.
That's crazy. I didn't know about that story.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, like it was a construction site. It wasn't really quicksand, but it just kind of felt like quicksand.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's scary. Dang it. I had one accident with a bike and nobody hit me. I just fell. And I got a concussion, and never again will I go back on a bike outside. I feel like I have to wear a helmet on my Peloton inside. So props to you, Craig.
Yeah.
So a lot of these amazing questions have come from Julie, and Brian actually brought a couple of questions too. And Grace brought one. If this one comes from Julie, if anyone in the family were to end up in jail, who would it be and what for?
Me.
Probably Sam for driving reckless.
Or too many tickets.
No, it would have to. I would say Sam because she's the craziest. She's the craziest one, I think, of all of us.
The black one. The
You're
black
the
sheep.
easiest one that could talk his way out of it.
She's a terrible driver.
You could bet your eyelash.
Okay, next.
You could bet your eyelash.
It would be something to do with driving, I'm sure.
She might hit a cyclist named Craig.
Maybe.
Her first 7 accidents, there were no cars.
And that's a fact.
just hot eggs.
We have a lot of embarrassing Sammy stories.
Okay, we don't need to go to those ones.
It's all about Craig.
Yeah, it's about Craig.
Or we can. Hit us with one. We want to know what Craig had to deal with growing up.
I have one favorite Sam story, and that is she inherited Craig's beat up car. Craig got a new car, and then and Sammy took Craig's car, and so Sammy had just got a license, and she really was terrible. She's improved a lot, but she was just very scary. And so anyway, she was driving the car around, and we took the car to the shop to get new tires and some maintenance stuff done. And I doled out 900 and some odd dollars, and I'm like, all right, Sam, I'll see you at home. And she pulls out of the driveway of the body shop or the garage, and literally slams right into the guardrail and totals the car, like totals it. And I'm watching it, and like I thought, I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was like it was just like unreal. I just doled out $900, and she just crashed into a guardrail.
I think you got my car after that.
She didn't see the guardrail there.
She was just 16, but yeah. There was that what's that tool company there, Snap?
Yeah.
There was that truck was in the way, and when she pulled out, that truck just blocked her vision. I'm sticking up for her. But it's just a lousy place.
So that was the end of that car.
Next.
Yeah, all right.
I'm from New York, and I am now starting to believe that New York drivers are much better than Massachusetts drivers.
Well, you guys have a grid, you know? You have a squared off. None of our roads are gridded. Very few roads are gridded. Everything is like snakes and circles, and it's just
a
New
big
England.
bowl of spaghetti, like Craig used to say.
It's a good place to learn how to drive.
Right?
Hills.
He used to say Boston's like a bowl of spaghetti.
It is. It's like a bowl of spaghetti. That's how they made their
The roads
roads.
are like this.
I've never been. I really need to go. I need to hang out with you guys.
Oh, you absolutely should come.
It was actually today is my grandma's 90th birthday. So Craig, if your grandpa is single, my grandma is single.
No.
My grandpa is married for like 60, 70 years? 60 something.
56. So, what's that? 67 years?
7 years, yeah.
Man, wow, good for him.
But his great grandpa lived to be 100 and what? 2?
102 or 1.
His great grandpa 102. And Craig did a special thing at the. Did you talk about the Red Sox thing for what he did for his granddad? Why don't you tell that story? Someone you tell that story.
When Craig was he was like a young teenager. He realized my grandfather was born on April 12th, April 20th, 1912. So that's when Fenway Park opened, and he was born on that day. So Craig had the idea of getting him to Fenway for the 100th. If he lived to be 100, he could also, and he did it. By that time, I think he was 20 or 20, right? You're at Northeastern, but they said, call us back in 2011 and we'll figure something out.
They honored his grandfather on his 100th birthday at Fenway.
Yeah, it was
They
a
had
big,
him on the big
thing in the
screen, and they did a story on it, and Craig just pulled that whole thing together.
I mean, my relatives came from Pennsylvania, right? It was a big thing. They would have came for his birthday, but they went to the game. Yeah, no, that was very proud.
Yeah, it was very nice.
We're gonna make him.
I just don't think people care about, like, I don't know. Maybe
the accolades. The accolades are realist, but all
I
right.
think most people like real
The
estate.
best thing he did was marry Grace. Now, all right.
Yep, that's for sure. Actually, my family recently went to Fenway Park at that actually the same game that you guys were at against the Yankees. Yeah, that was very embarrassing. Very embarrassing. They drove home before the game ended.
Yeah.
We did too.
We left in the 8th.
And where are they from? Are they from New York? So they drove home to New York?
Yep, they drove there and then drove right back.
We saw a car heading out towards New York. That someone
Oh,
came.
it had to be that.
No.
It had to be
Yeah,
that.
it
was-
was on that.
They were sitting near us. They were talking about going back on the same day. I don't know. I know that there were New York cars on the map.
Silly.
With your relationship with your sister, what is that like when you've spoken a little bit about it so far, but how, as the big brother, the older brother, and an influencer, how are you helping your sister get to where you're at?
I don't know that I don't know if that's what she wants. So, I think like, um, I think I think it's very dangerous to compare yourself, and I think unfortunately, like for Sammy, that's just something that everyone has done for her whole life. Like in school, we had the same teachers, and I was 4 years before her, and so the teachers would compare, and it's just a natural comparison. And I think like I was a pretty good student, and so like it was always like Sammy compared to Craig, Sammy compared to Craig, Sammy compared to Craig, and so like she's probably had enough of like I don't care about like she cares about me, but like
Trying
she,
to live up to Craig.
yeah, but like she's her own person, and so anytime that she wants advice or if she wants money advice or that, like I'm here to give it to her. If I feel like she needs advice, I try to lay it on her like pretty light, and just give her some hints. I give her some books that I don't think she's read yet, and yeah, and so that's kind of how I have like approached our relationship now. I think we've got a great relationship now. We try to talk weekly. We're not great about it. We probably talk like maybe 2 or 3 times a month when I'm not home.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. I always find like sibling dynamics super interesting. I I'm like 2 years apart with my sister and we're like best friends, and she again doesn't care about like investing or anything like that. She's like, Allie, here's my login. Can you do it? And I'm like, yeah, gladly. I'll do it for you. So that's like the type of relationship that I have with my sister.
Yeah, that's Sammy because I'm not like you. Because I do think that like I'm like, no, you need to do it yourself. You need to learn how to do it. I'm not doing it for you. I'll give you the wisdom and I'll teach you and I'll guide you, but I'm not doing it for you. I'm not gonna like give you any money. I'm not gonna do any of that. Like I'm gonna like I'll show you how to make money. I'll show you how to save money. I'll show you how to invest money. But I'm not gonna no free lunches. They're $1 each.
Yeah.
Minimal.
Yeah.
I am interested in investing though,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna do it.
She'll do it. She can't be around me for that long and not do it.
You still got time.
And I can't be a massage therapist forever. So
Well, I don't know. With the type of clients that you have, I mean, you might.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody's different. Not everybody likes to invest. So, I mean, everyone's different. Not everyone is an investor.
There was one about like a slightly deeper one of like arguments or just like heavier discussions about like, or if you guys ever fought about money and how you guys like resolve that as a family.
I have no memory of fighting about money. Honestly, we never really. I mean, I used to stress about money, but I can't say I fought about it. I used to be always stressing. Oh my God, I'm gonna get this bill and that bill.
Yeah, that's
Bills
about
are always
so
gonna be
season's
there.
coming.
Don't spend the money for this and don't spend the money for that.
But we never fought. I can't say like we didn't fight about that. I think most of our fighting occurred in the car, driving. But yeah, did we fight? I don't remember fighting about. Can you?
No, I'm trying to think. I don't think we fought much about money.
Like we didn't talk about money. Like growing
Just-
up, it was just we never really talked about money. It was just something that we earned and we paid bills with, and we just never really. I can't say it wasn't all that important to us. But now it's like Craig, it definitely has inspired us. Like
Craig was like us, and now we're trying to
he's
be like
opened
him.
our eyes, and he's made us more aware, and he's educated us, and he's actually like getting us like pumped up to do more with the real estate. Where before I was like, oh, whatever, I don't care. But now I'm like, yeah, I want to get another house. I want to buy 2 more houses. Where before I wasn't like whatever. So
Yeah, I think just like we were like I think we were just like your typical middle class family. Like you didn't talk about money. You worked hard.
Yeah.
You came home. You never worried about where our next meal was coming. We had a great house, a great yard. Like I always thought we were rich, and then I went to college and saw what really rich looks like, and I was like, oh, okay, no, we're not rich. We're middle class, but supportive, all of that kind of stuff. I don't think. Yeah, we just straight up didn't talk about it. I don't know where my interest in money came from, honestly. Like
It came from looking.
Books.
It came from working in.
I could share something
working
here.
in Palo Alto.
I can share
don't
something
wanna
here.
do this.
So how it all started with Craig is he was stuck in this job that he absolutely hated. He was doing
didn't know this.
he was doing
know all that?
financial whatever spreadsheets all day long, and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he was kind of lost and didn't know what direction to go in, and he was reading a whole bunch of books, and then he just came to me one day. He's like, I got it. I know what I want to do. I'm doing it. And that was it. And it was like, I'm going to go I apply, try to get a job at Bigger Pockets. I want a job at Bigger Pockets. I saw her at Bigger Pockets. I'm like, all right. And then they said, all of a sudden, he got a job at Bigger Pockets. And then one thing led to another. And that's when his career just took off. Bigger Pockets. That jump from his first job to Bigger Pockets, they helped him a lot.
Yeah, I was working, 70 hours, working a lot. You said to me, Craig, I'm making 80 or 90,000 for my boss to make 900,000, so his boss can make 10 million. And so, why do I got to work 16 hours and I'm on the bottom here? And he was listening to the podcast, and he took a deep cut in pay, but he knew eventually he'd be doing the house thing that would make up for it.
And he just grew at Bigger Pockets.
He graduated from Bigger Pockets.
He did.
When you say that Craig has been helping you and inspiring you, what's next for you both?
We are building a house in Florida. We're gonna do probably gonna do an Airbnb thing down there, and then we also have a home we're gonna buy in Hull, Massachusetts. It's a beach home, so I'm gonna have my 2 beach houses, hopefully, if everything goes according to my plans.
Where in Florida?
It's Rotunda West. So we're building, and we thought we were going to be done already, but that Hurricane Ian really set us back quite some time. So we're kind of like starting over again. So they're breaking ground finally. But we started this, 3 years ago, Craig? Craig and I went out to Florida looking for something, and we came across this. I'm like, this is it. And so we found builders, and we thought it was great, and everything was rolling, and then Ian came and kind of changed everything. So we had to start from square one again.
But you have Craig on your side to help you run numbers too, right? Like, are you using the Bigger Pockets spreadsheets or calculators?
Me? No, I don't do spreadsheets. He does the spreadsheets. No, that's what we need him for. He guides us. He gives us advice. He's helping us. Like it's his too. We do it together. We're doing it together. So It's a team thing. So because eventually, what's mine is going to be his, right?
Hopefully.
He went to Florida thinking he was going to surprise his mother and buy this house type thing without telling her. Somehow, I don't know how, Samantha got wind of that. Craig's going to Florida to buy your land. And Lou's like, what do you mean? I'm going with him if I'm going to live there. So that's kind of happened as a surprise. She went to Florida in a heartbeat because he was going to a meeting anyways.
Yeah.
So it was 2 years, March was 2 years. So that was it.
He was going to surprise me with a house, but I said that I kind of want to have a word in what the house looks like. So we went down together and we decided to build. Because we couldn't find one that was built that we liked.
And there's 2 properties that he bought next to each other. 111, 113, the numbers, and we're building on one, and the other one,
we're going to build eventually.
We'll see how this goes and go from there.
That's exciting. I'm excited to hopefully interview you both again once it's built, and see how it's going for you both.
That sounds great.
He's half retired by then.
We shall reconvene.
We will. And maybe next time I'll be at your place eating burgers with you, going to Fenway Park after.
Do it. Let's do it.
We're going to have something better than burgers if you come.
It'll be better than burgers.
Burgers is good. I love burgers. And now I want to head to Craig. Do you know what time it is? We're heading into?
I think it's time for the final.
The final four.
What does that even mean?
I'm going to ask you 4 questions.
Oh, you'll find out. You're going to hear soon. The first question of the final four questions that we ask in every episode. Each of you individually, what are you reading right now?
Gary?
George Bush, president, biography. Second George Bush, 43.
My dad is reading all of the presidents from the start. He started with Benjamin Franklin, who obviously wasn't a president, but basically could have been.
And Craig read
And I think I got on that book in 2017, and now he's gone through every single president all the way now to George Bush, and he's just got a couple left. So
That's crazy. Who's your favorite president from the books that you've read?
I don't know. It's too hard to ask. But Bill Clinton is definitely the most entertaining to read about. But Grant was very interesting, and he wasn't really a good president. But I don't know. It's hard to tell. I take too long to try to compare and contrast all the presidents. But
Yeah, let's not go
you're
there.
you're on a
You're
slippery
really-
slope.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there.
But Grant is one of the favorites to read about. Of course, Roosevelt and both Roosevelts were interesting. The first one was actually more interesting than the most famous one, FDR. But yeah, no, it's very interesting. I had to do that. I need to find out why we're here. How did we get here? Is what I'm
I like that.
next. Anyone else reading?
I am not I don't read too much. I mean, I'm not a big avid reader. I do read, but I'm not like him. He's like reads all day long.
No.
I'm not reading a book right at this
Yeah.
moment, but the last book that I read was called Rockin' the Retirement Years. So I'm kind of like that. It's a personal development kind of book.
And I just finished Buy Then Build by Walter Walker Deeble or something like I forget his name. But yeah, Buy Then Build. Good book.
Nice. And is Sam still there? I can't see.
Nope.
Sam and I are the non-readers, and these two are the readers.
I'm gonna finish reading one of the books Craig gave me though. Yeah, I will.
Oh, perhaps his own.
Oh, we've read that.
Oh, we read that.
Awesome.
We knew that. We preached it.
Question number 2. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Well, me first. Well, when we were in business, we were looking to get into the function hall business, and this guy said, "You don't need to get into the function business because all you can do is one more function. You might just do one more function every day, and why waste?" He convinced us that the money involved in doing that was enormous. He said, "Just make your commissary bigger and get a bigger kitchen," and that's what we did.
He said, "Well, I'm going to tap in on that."
Yeah,
And
that's
he said, "Stay small and keep it all."
Yeah, that's another.
And so that was like he's like, "Hey, you're right, you know." I feel like we were at a point where we didn't we grow too much. It's just too much headache because the business gets too big, and then the stressors get up there too. So I guess that's, I don't know.
Yeah,
Sam, do you have
that was
anything?
the best business advice.
Probably don't stress about bills because bills are always gonna be there.
Mm.
So you're always gonna have to pay them. So why stress about them?
Don't worry, be happy.
Die with
Yeah.
debt. We used to say.
Question number 3. Going deeper here. What is your why?
My why is my family. Everything I do is for my family. So I would have to say everybody in this room and then some.
Then, yeah.
You
Me too, but going to the beach. Doing what we can to keep everything stable and keep us cohesive, you know? I want to stay around for a while. Like, I guess, right? We got to be healthy so we can live for a long time and
Live in peace and joy.
see the grandkids.
Good choice.
Mine's to help make other people feel better,
That's right.
including my mom and my brother and my mom. Because they all ask me for massages too.
I love that. And question number 4 is usually a random one. I have 2 to choose from, unless Craig, you have one, then we can use yours.
Couldn't be random because they'd be seeing what I'm looking at. So Do yours.
Okay. What would be, or which one should I choose here? Um, what is each of your biggest fears?
I have one. Something happening to my kids.
Yeah, I mean that's about it. I don't know. Something happening to any of us, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Same.
we don't want to bring things up that aren't happening. Make you know, you don't worry about what's not there.
Right.
But that's your what part of your why. You do things to.
And getting back to that, I just remembered my brother gave me a great piece of advice, and this just triggered my brain. And he said, "Don't worry about what might be, worry about what is." And I always try to remember that because I tend to be a worry wart. I like worry a
Can't
lot.
control it.
So I try to
Have no fear.
get more control over that. And when I feel myself getting like that, I'm like, oh, don't worry about what might be. Live in the present moment.
Yes. Yeah. There are so many things you can worry about and so many situations you can just make up in your head that don't exist. So enjoy the present.
The what ifs. What if this and what if that and what if this? And then you're the monkey brain.
I got a funny story about this. I definitely married my mother. Yeah, not literally, but Grace is very like my mom. So last night, we were going out to eat with some friends, and Grace thought that she lost her wallet because it wasn't in the car where she thought she had left it. And so before we could get to the restaurant, she's Googling, how do I get home without my ID? Because obviously you need the ID to fly. How do I how do I replace all my credit cards? Do I cancel them all? How do I what do I do with everything? And I was just like, babe, let's I have a feeling it's like in the house, or maybe like the someone took it from the gym, but it's like at the gym. Like, let's give it 24 hours before we start making crazy decisions here, and like stop stressing about it. But the whole time on the way there, on the way back, that's all she could think about. Sure enough, we get home sitting right on the bureau, and it was just really funny. So you need to have that balance in your life of like someone who worries, someone
Yeah.
who can kind of stay calm,
Yeah.
and that's what I think
Yeah,
a great couple makes.
Yes, and he's the one that keeps me calm. He really does. I don't know. I would lose my mind without him.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Take a deep breath.
It's good. You need that. You need someone to say, "Knock it off."
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was a great one. And for anyone listening who has not given a rating or review, please do so now, especially on this special episode. This was great. And I'm looking forward to doing this again in the future.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks so much,
Thank
Allie.
you. Nice meeting
It
you.
was very nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Hope to meet you live someday.
Nice meeting you too. We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care.
And Allie, that was my whole family. What did you think? You have to say it's good.
I have to. I have to because I want to be invited next time. So, yes, it was good. No, it was great. This was a perfect. I love the rawness in this episode where we cover things that aren't always spoken about. For example, families that don't talk about money growing up and how parents can learn from their kids. So this episode is great for parents in that same situation, or, maybe people our age starting a family, like becoming new parents. I think this is a great episode for them. It was awesome getting a sneak peek and hearing some embarrassing stories and how you were frugal and like flipping sandwiches in middle school. This is a great one.
Yeah, it was fun. Fun having them on. I think one thing, like, yeah, I mean, I obviously like they've taught me a whole bunch, like more than I've taught them, and I know I've taught them a lot in like the investing and finance and business front. Um, but I will say that one thing my parents are very good at is that they are not stubborn, and I think a lot of people have stubborn parents that would never think to learn from their kids. But my parents are very open-minded, and so if I say something, obviously I've got like a decent track record with making good decisions. Like they'll at least give it some thought, and they'll like be able. They won't always agree with me, but like they'll give it some thought and at least hear me out. And so I think that's really important too.
Definitely. Yes. If you have not given us a rating or review, like I mentioned already, please do so, especially on this episode. Do it for Craig's parents, if anything. Even if not for Craig or I, do it for his parents.
That's right. Yeah, do it for mom and dad. Give us a rating and review. Drop us a like. Share this with your friends, your family, your mom, your dad. And hopefully you got a little bit inspired. And we'll see you guys all on next week's episode.
That's it for this episode of Investify. We hope that these nuggets of real estate wisdom lead to more savvy financial planning and a clearer path towards financial freedom. For more content like this, subscribe to the show at investify.com. Don't forget to leave a rating and share it with your friends. Together, we can transform more real estate newbies into successful and clever investors. Thank you so much for listening. See you on the next one.